真空
Hey, what's going on, everybody? System Cycle here with the Combo Crew. We got Gatsuga,
Yo,
Elvis,
what's going on?
and we got a new guest star, Slava.
AKA Pro Logic.
So, this podcast is basically going to be a video game podcast. We thought the topic would be kind of like physical versus digital and the whole DLC and what our thoughts on all that is. So, let's start off with, I guess, pretty much the difference between the physical and the digital and what our thoughts on all that. So, who wants to start off? Who has like a, their opinion on, if they like digital better, if they like physical?
I'd like to start this off with the fact that Psycho and myself, we are big people, we're big fans of the physical copy.
Yeah.
I personally, if there's an option, I would definitely go for a physical copy first. And usually if there's like a collector's edition or some kind of like special feature with an art book or, I'm a sucker for a steel book,
Same here.
Exactly. And I don't know, I just tend to stick with those,
Same here, man. And but for you, what are some of the reasons why? Like, why do you think physical is better than digital? Because from what I hear, people like digital because it's a lot easier. Doesn't take up space in your place.
Well, okay, so I can't deny the fact that digital distros much more convenient. I really can't. I 100% can't at all. Slav over here, he comes over to my house, brings his hard drive, and we can play a game that he recently downloaded.
Okay.
For me, if I were to bring a physical copy, it's not like it was back in the day. And if I bring it over, there's going to be an install process. There's going to be the update process, and it is definitely more convenient to get a digital copy.
Okay.
But for me to still want to go for a physical copy, let's start with if the game sucks horribly.
Uh-huh.
If you get a shitty game that there's all this hype, and Destiny, just throwing that out there. There's all this hype, and you get the game and you play it and you're just kind of like disappointed. If you got a digital copy, that's it. You drop your $60, and it's kind of like
you can't return a digital copy.
The trading part is big when you have digital copies.
That's
actually a big part of it.
Yeah, so I traded in Destiny for like $35.
Okay.
And because I beat it really quick, the game's really easy to beat even after like the quote unquote raids and everything.
Yeah.
So I like it simply. That's one of the reasons is that you can, if it sucks, you still can get some money back to put towards an actual.
Yeah, and I could actually attest to that because I bought the digital bundle, and it was the premium, I guess, whatever the hell it's called.
It's one with the DLC.
Yeah. It didn't have the King. The King Rising, what is it?
Oh, the Taken King?
The Taken King, yeah. But it was in an $89 bundle DLC, and I played through it pretty much once, and then once I was done with Destiny, I was done with it.
$89 for DLC?
Wow. And that was just for
the game plus the season pass.
Okay.
But that was all that was House of Wolves.
Yeah.
And I forgot
the Taken King was not included.
Well,
and
Taken King is kind of like a new game.
I was about to say that I haven't played Destiny too extensive, but I did hear that one of the DLCs pretty much like it was a brand new game, like everything, like from I don't know. I mean,
that's the Taken King.
And was it gameplay or was it?
It was a little bit of everything, but Taken King had a huge price tag on it. That didn't even come with Slava's $90 bundle.
Yeah.
So what was the price tag on Taken King?
I believe it was $40.
Yeah, something like that. It was almost a full price
so they didn't
game.
have a season pass.
They did. That's what he got with his bundle. But it came with.
I think it was like $50. I think that's what a lot of people complained because it's a brand new game, and it was just DLC pretty much. So.
Yeah.
I mean I agree with y'all. Or I guess I agree with Slav about having a physical copy. I'd rather have the physical copy just because I could trade it in. And I usually actually trade in most of my games once I'm done playing them. Like especially like I play a lot of Call of Duty. They come out with a new game every year.
And a half,
Madden, 2K, FIFA, all of these games, they come out yearly.
Yeah.
So if you download them, pretty much, you pay your money. That's it.
So you rather have the physical?
I'd rather have the physical copy just because I want to go trade them in.
Now, do you prefer to have a physical copy of those types of games, or say you get a game that you like, would you prefer a digital copy or a physical?
You know, it's actually funny because I actually do this all the time, right? I'll buy an RPG that I play all the time. I'll get bored of it. Another game will come out, you know, and then I'm like, oh, I want to get that game now.
Yeah.
I'll trade it in. I'll play that game, and then I'm like, oh, damn, I wish I still had that game I traded in.
Oh,
so
really?
it does happen to me. Like, it's happened where I've traded something in that I regretted trading in.
I think we've all done that at least.
I don't trade in shit. I keep everything, dude. I've always
on your wall.
Yeah, dude. I keep everything because I don't want that exact reason is the reason why I don't trade shit in.
It happens to me all the time. It just happened to me multiple times. And I mean, but hey.
I mean, like even though I bought the bundle, it was $90, and you know I haven't played it pretty much a month after I beat it.
Okay.
I mean, I still go back and try it out once in a while. A couple months ago, I just went on and I was like, oh shit, I have Destiny, so I checked it out. They had a lot of updates and fixes and all that goodies.
But you can't deny the fact that it's a gorgeous game.
It's a nice game. Yeah,
and Bungie did really well with it, I think. But it's just, I think Activision just fucked all that up.
It got repetitive for just the standard content.
It's gorgeous. It's just that it's incomplete.
One of the things that kind of bothers me about digital and DLC is the fact that the companies take advantage of that shit. You know what I mean? They nickel and dime you. They have shit on the disc, but then you gotta unlock it later. It's like dumb shit like that, and you have to pay for certain shit and endings and. It just it's ridiculous.
I feel like when I first heard about DLC, it took me a while to fully understand what it means. I'm like, what? I thought I already had the game.
Yeah, exactly.
I definitely do feel that way.
And I feel like they come out with incomplete games on purpose.
Of course they do.
And
well, I don't think it's incomplete game. I think they just give you 40% of the game.
That's still incomplete.
30% of the game. I mean, the game's complete. They're just giving you X amount of.
I don't know.
I mean, but you also look at let's say the GTA series. I mean, that's a complete big game. That's a lot of content for $60. When you pay it. But you also get the DLC that comes out back. I guess maybe a few months down the road, and depending on the exclusivity. Somebody might get it first, but it adds a lot of features, and it's not like somebody's pointing a gun to your head and say you have to buy this. Mm-hmm. It's there as an option. You don't have to actually go and buy it, but there's a lot of fans out there that love it so much they'll spend an extra 10 or 15, $20 to download whatever they need and have more fun with it.
Well, I'm not against that at all. I'm talking about like purposely leaving out content.
Well, a lot of games do that with free to play. So you download a game, and the developers, they have to make money. So what they'll do is they'll charge you for the extra content that you want to get or get earlier, or versus grinding and have to use.
Well, I mean,
your
with free to
own
plays,
currency.
you usually got to put in a stupid amount of hours in order to get some gear that would cost you $2.
Okay,
it's true, but that's the formula for pay to plays. That's free to plays. That's kind of what people expect, I have friends who purposely play, free to plays because it's like, hey, this is a guaranteed grind for like 200-300 hours, and that loot is going to be extra sweet when I get it, and I didn't have to pay the $2,
Yeah.
I know people who drop hundreds and hundreds of hours in free to plays,
Well, I think it's also, it's pretty much here to stay. Even though, physical versus digital is a big topic, and, it's becoming even a bigger topic since internet speeds are getting quicker and quicker and everything is more accessible now. I think physical copies will stick around for a while. Okay. I don't think they're going to go anywhere, and I think they're going to keep becoming even more exclusive in terms of collectors,
limited editions.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's where they're going to push, and you're not going to be able to go and buy them everywhere. I think you're going to be able to go and get it online somewhere, or maybe GameStop.
That's actually really interesting though, because like that you just said, you won't be able to get them everywhere. I kind of feel like that is where it's going. But if that is where it's going, that kind of means that digital would take over everything, and then the physical copy would only be for those people that are interested in getting the physical copy.
Well, that's what I mean, and I mean it's for collectors, for bragging rights,
But
and that's a big thing right now for collectors.
Yeah.
I get like every collector's edition. I love collector's editions. It's true, you know. And one of the reasons I started actually collecting collector's editions as much as I do is because of that exclusivity of having a physical copy. So, like, for example, I think it was Dead Space 3. Dead Space 3 came with a sweet, at least to me, it was a sweet collector's edition. Came with like a water bottle and patches and art book and all this cool stuff. Steel case, of course. Yeah. And I was like, oh, you know what? I didn't. GameStop will say, GameStop didn't tell me that they had a collector's edition option. Mm-hmm. So I put down my reserve on a regular one, or to get bonus DLC. But that's a topic for another day.
I was actually,
so hold on.
Yeah.
So when I got, I was like, when I finally heard about this collector's edition, it was completely sold out everywhere.
Yeah.
And me being a big fan of the series, I was like, fuck it, like maybe I'll see. Somebody's probably hawking one up on eBay. Dude, that shit was going for $700.
What?
$700.
Yeah, and a lot of people will pay, top money for extra material down the road.
Yeah, but it's not even out yet. It's not even collector status yet. I mean, what if the game sucked ass?
That's true.
Well, there's somebody going to be out there that's going to be interested. I mean, not every game is great, and then you get it. But there's a lot of fans out there.
It hurts that I'm a fan and I couldn't get it. That I understand. I understand that it's exclusive. But I feel like they should, at least promote it more, or GameStop or wherever you buy your games should be like, by the way, this is how it is, or this is what's coming out, and this is how many it's coming out, and get it now or don't get it at all. I didn't know about it until it was way too late. I had, and I'm pretty avid about going to GameStop on a regular basis. Yeah. But I'm just saying, having it exclusive could be bad in a sense, especially for fans and not just hardcore.
So the one thing that bothers me, maybe I'm wrong, but how come, like, let's say a AAA title comes out, let's say Call of Duty, right? How come its fucking downloadable copy version is the same price as a physical copy?
Yeah.
What is up with that? Because, a physical copy, obviously they gotta create the artwork, the case, the disc, and they gotta distribute it, you know what I mean? So why is it the downloadable copy is the same exact price?
That's not. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, well, I think that it's gonna what they're doing. I mean, they do give you the discount, and the way they do it, I think at least, and this is my theory. It's not something that's proven, but I believe. I mean, they do a lot of discounts to do a lot of sales, and that's their kind of way of promoting the game through. Channels like, hey, we just released the game, but a month down the road, there's 10-15% off. And a lot of stores like GameSpot don't do that. You can go in there and you buy a physical copy, and it never drops in price. But now these services, for PlayStation and Xbox, you go in there, and Steam as well. You go in there and they, hey, 10-15% off if you have the Gold or PS Live or.
Correct me if I'm wrong though. Didn't Steam offer you a $10 price deduction when you bought a digital copy? Because of the fact that it was a digital copy?
Not that I know
of.
At least they give you like 10% I mean, there's third parties that will actually give you a discount code or something like that in the beginning. If you pre-order it, they'll say, hey, here's a 15-20% off, and you can preload the game and
they're saving money.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to provide the steel books or the the extra content if you're not buying the limited edition. But I think that what they're doing is they're concentrating on marketing in terms of, we don't want to put the game for sale, just particularly it's digital, but we'll provide maybe, down the road a month or two a discount.
When you get the limited edition game, does that come with like a season pass, or is it just the exclusive helmet or statue or?
Usually now comes with the season pass. Pretty much every limited edition comes.
Really?
How much more is the limited edition?
It depends, right? They can range from like 80 to like 150 to 200.
250.
Well, that's where the whole like pricing bracket comes in, and that's what I was talking about. Is they'll on the digital content you're actually capable of buying the game itself. Then they'll give you like the gold edition, which has a season pack for an extra $30 or $40, whatever it is. And then you can get the unlimited edition, which usually gives you future access to DLC and pretty much for the life of the game. And I believe, I don't know if limited editions have that, but usually they come with the season pass and then the extra content.
I mean, for example, Witcher. The Witcher came with. The Witcher did not. I don't think came with actually the DLC.
Well, its DLC was free, and that's amazing.
That right there is God. My respect goes to CD Projekt Red because they put out how many DLCs for free? Like 30 or 40?
Damn.
Yeah, and granted it's little things like costumes and stuff like that.
And that's where the pro for digital copy or digital distribution comes in, is the access to DLC is on demand. I mean, you come home and the new digital, the digital content is out, and you could preload it, or it's preloaded automatically to your console, and bam, you have it. Versus I guess having a physical copy. If it was only physical, you'd have to go to a store and actually you bring it home and download it.
That is a good positive, having digital.
It's just a convenience factor.
Scratching, breaking.
The big thing is the ruining the disc. I mean, how many times in the past have we, like on PlayStation or other consoles and others?
You get the old machine that
I remember that scratch through.
The John
and it never worked.
The buffer.
Just bring out the Windex.
Skip doctor, dude.
You look at the back and you have a bunch of circles on your disc.
You're like, this shit didn't help.
I know, dude.
It's the same thing as blowing that SNES.
That's true. That's
Look,
true.
Blu-rays are scratch resistant. Wii U games are scratch resistant.
Yeah.
And you can feel it too. They even shave down the edges so you don't hurt yourself. I don't know if people are hurting themselves on discs or not, but it's all soft and smooth and shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful. The first time I picked up a Wii U disc, I was like, oh my god, this feels great on my hand. What is going on here?
I need to carry these around.
Yeah, but that's a double-edged sword. I think having to go to the store is it's convenience, but it's also a lot of the time people go to get a game because of the experience. They have
I definitely like the
launches, the midnight launches. You get to go
especially
and
if there's like a
meet the community, and you're not alone sitting on a couch, and you get to actually there's people that are actually excited about this. So.
You know when you guys are talking about like DLC as in terms of like little stuff, you get the game and then you can get like new costumes and stuff, and instead of just getting like a completely new game, kind of like what Street Fighter did back in the day. They had Street Fighter 2, then Street Fighter Turbo, then Super Street Fighter.
Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo.
Yeah, so it's like that's like the first DLC, but you had to go and buy another game for $60.
Actually, I have a good story about this, and I think the first DLC that was ever released was for PlayStation Grand Theft Auto, the top view 2D kind of.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it was Grand Theft Auto, I believe, London 1969.
Oh, I have that
game.
And
you actually had to insert the DLC, and it came in on disc. Then take it out, eject it, and then put the original game in. Then take the original game out and put the DLC back in.
Really?
That makes no fucking sense.
No, so you have to launch the game first, the original game, and then the DLC, then eject the DLC, put the original game in, and then it was like a 4-step process. It was crazy.
That kind of reminds me of, I don't know if you remember this or if you guys played Zelda. I think it was Ocarina. No, was it Ocarina? No, the one after Majora's Mask.
Yeah, Majora's Mask.
Where you had to like put something into
the expansion pack.
Yeah, the expansion pack.
You had to put that for that game.
I think so. Yeah.
I know. Perfect Dark, you had to.
Same with Turok.
Right. So isn't that kind of like it's kind of like DLC or
it
like
is DLC.
Extra content?
Yeah, it's extra content.
But
it was Sonic 3, I believe. You have to get an
Sonic
extra
and Knuckles.
cartridge.
Sonic and Knuckles.
Insert the cartridge in the cartridge.
That's what I'm saying.
Back in the day.
Yeah. You got to play Knuckles and Sonic 2.
Yes. So that's essentially where DLC came from.
Yeah, I mean that was like the granddaddy. That was like the stepping stones of DLC, and like, oh shit, what's happening?
Like think about this though, like going into DLC, Third Strike. When Third Strike was re-released as a digital download for PS3.
Okay.
So you pretty much get the game. You get the online features, which is awesome. I'm a Third Strike whore.
Street Fighter Third Strike. Yeah.
I love Third Strike, and I was super excited to be able to play with people online finally, instead of just like the people who sit next to me on the couch. Now, I love the couch experience. I think it's amazing. It's why we do game nights and have fun with all our friends there, because it's nothing like talking shit to someone in their face versus over a microphone, because then you really get to see the hurt in their eyes. but it's still fun. Like on any given day, I could pick up and play like an actual player versus a computer.
Okay.
Their DLC was the whole getting different sprite colors, and that upset me, because that's something I feel like that shouldn't have a price tag. This should have a price tag.
Yeah.
That should be like, you play 50 hours, here's Ryu in purple. You play 70 hours, here's like Ryu in bright orange. Oh, you got 50 wins, here's Ryu's all black costume with tan skin.
You have to pay for that?
Yeah, you got to pay for it.
That's companies getting greedy right there.
And on top of that, you're the only one who sees it. The people who you're playing won't see it unless they own the content themselves.
What kind of ridiculous?
Wow, that's
and you don't see it in replays. So it's just for you, literally for you to see Ryu in an all black costume with tan skin.
What system was this on?
It's PS3.
Oh wow!
So going back to Street Fighter, with Championship Edition, that's when you finally got to play as the same character because they put two colors, right?
Yeah.
I feel like when they were progressing, then it started regressing or whatever. Because then the Marvel vs. Capcom 2, you kept playing the game and it'll give you game points, and then you can buy all these colors.
I love that.
You can unlock characters. You can unlock all 56 characters, all the costumes, all of that shit. And then we go to where you have to pay for each character and you have to pay for costumes. It's like, how do we go from Marvel vs. Capcom 2 to what we have now, which is like, that's what really blew me, to tell you the truth. That's
You have to download every character.
Yeah.
Which Killer Instinct?
The new one.
The new one, yeah.
But I can get past that.
But they're in season packs.
Yeah,
so.
I can get past that, because the first season, the second season,
they'll have different editions.
But it equals out to the price of a game.
Yeah.
So you could buy the first season for what, like $25?
And I think I bought it for like 20 or 30 or 30 or 40 bucks.
That's not that bad, because it equals out to the price of a full game. And then
they kind of stretched the DLC though, but it took a while. But the developers, they take their time. They're meticulous in the process. They want it to make it perfect, because it's not a game that you kind of just want to push out, or the characters you want to push out. If you're limited with time in terms of release, and I think that's also another point I want to make, is a lot of companies they're in a hurry to release these games because the publisher wants to make a profit, or they're on a timeline that's actually competing against other games coming out that season, and they want to release something, and maybe they'll add it through DLC or fix it, and that's also a double-edged sword, because when they release something now, because of a time frame, a lot of it is not completely done. The game is buggy, and there's fixes that need to be implemented. And that's how they get away with it now, through DLC or patches. And now that everybody has a connection, and you can actually just turn your Xbox on, or PS on, or a PlayStation on, and download the new content or update, and not have to worry about actually rebuying the game, through a physical copy. They take advantage of that.
How blown are you when you get home? You got that fresh ass new game. Like, we'll say, what's something that's tight right now? Like, we'll say Battlefield Hardline, right? Yeah. Since we're talking about DLC, EA loves that shit. But like, you get on Battlefield, right? You get home, you're like, man, tough day at work. I'm gonna grab a beer or apple juice, whatever you're into, and you go home and you start playing. Bam, update.
Oh,
and you're just
gosh,
like,
I fucking hate that shit.
I just want to play this fucking game.
That does suck, right? But I think it's kind of cool how they fix glitches. Glitches.
Yeah.
And they're able to patch certain things with the updates. So it kind of goes both ways, because I can't think off the top of my head which game had like a really bad glitch, and they went back and fixed it, and I was like, all right, cool.
Assassin's Creed Unity.
Well, it depends also on the scale, I believe, too. Like, you say Assassin's Creed, that's a big game. Developers can't, iron out every little bug and whatever else not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it doesn't, like, if you look at, what is it, Unity? That was a shit show.
Yeah.
That shit was
look
just
at Battlefield.
broken. people couldn't play the game because it just didn't work. And EA was under it was Ubisoft. Or is it EA, the publisher?
Ubisoft.
Ubisoft, right? Yeah, it is Ubisoft.
Yeah.
And Ubisoft, I mean, they wanted to pump that thing out because the season was there, the holiday, I mean, Christmas right around the corner, and there was competing, games coming out, and they wanted to push that thing out. And bam, they got slammed, and Ubisoft is still digging out because of all the early releases that they've released, and they have bugs, and they're fixing it through the patches and the fixes, but it doesn't justify.
That's so true. Assassin's Creed comes out with a game every year.
Yeah, and this is the first year they haven't actually. They're not releasing one.
They have to break away from that formula.
Yeah, they definitely have to.
You can't just do it. But Unity. They were like, you know what? Fuck it, we can just patch it later. Fuck it, let's give people an unfinished fucking game.
Well, but then you have people that lash out and look at Syndicate now. It's a lot better, at least I from what I saw.
I think Syndicate was well done. My favorite is still Black Flag. I know people are gonna hate me for that shit, but I love it. The whole riding on the boat thing.
There's so many fucking Assassin's Creed. I can't keep them all together.
Every year, though.
Why?
But that's also another pro. I mean, you're capable of downloading a patch and the game. It's fixed in certain ways, and
or like a fighting game, they balance out characters.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what they did with the cartridges back in the day.
And that applies to first-person shooters and whatever else not.
Yeah, shooters they'll balance out a gun, I guess. Yeah. Certain times when something's
like hitboxes.
Yeah.
And I mean, the digital copy and sorry, I mean, the digital copy has also brought indie games. That's a big one. I mean, not a lot of developers. No developer, actually indie developer, has a physical copy of their game, at least that I know to date.
Well, I mean, look at Shovel Knight.
Yeah, you're right.
It depends if they get super popular.
Super popular. Yeah. I mean, if it explodes, they will release it. But for the most part,
they don't. Yeah.
I mean, maybe
that's a very
0.01% of all developers.
I mean, you come to my house all the time.
Yeah,
how many fucking indie games?
Yeah.
Well, that's the crazy thing.
I'm all about that life right now.
And how would you be able to get a hold of those games?
That's true.
If there was no digital copy.
Well, they
really
can't.
Hard.
I mean, it's such small studios, 5 or a guy that makes a game, and they're
you
like,
have to personally know them.
Yeah, and they're capable of actually making a profit and bring something new to the whole gaming scene versus big studios or big publishers having to hire
breaking out of their
big studios to make a game.
That nobody wants to make any kind of not new advancement, but try something new. They're too afraid of losing all their money.
So I have a question. Like when you download a game, right? Okay, let's say we download Rocket League, right?
Right. Rocket League's the shit, by the way.
Yeah, it's the shit. That's the only game.
Do they have it on physical copy? By the way?
No, not digital. But
I heard rumors of planning it, but that's all internet jive.
Once you download a game, and let's say 20 years from now, am I still gonna be able to play it on my PS4, or does the network have to be on so I can?
The network's gonna have to be on.
The network has to be on for me to play a digital game that I bought.
I think. Well, if it's on your console, I think you'll be okay. But what if you mean hard drives aren't 15 terabytes big? You can't just put all your PS4 games on one hard drive.
Yeah.
But if you digitally download everything, say PSN goes down permanently, Sony goes bankrupt.
Okay.
Like tomorrow that Sony's done, they're like, you know what, guys? Sorry, fuck it, you can't do anything.
Okay.
You're not going to be able to get your games again. You can't. And what if you want to show your kids? Like, we play Rocket League a lot, me and Psycho. So if we want to show our kids later, like, what Rocket League was about, we can't, because they're going to be like, oh, this looks great, I want to play it. And it's like, well, fucking sorry, this is digital only. oh, that's unfortunate,
But it's in my console, though, right?
Unless you keep it on your hard drive, though, right? As long as you keep it on your hard drive, it wouldn't matter if the system went up or down. But you wouldn't be able to play online, though.
Of course.
And that's something I wanted to look up, and it's an interesting topic because, now you don't own the game. You own the digital rights to it. It's not you. Even if you buy a physical copy now, you don't own the game. They can actually go and ban your ass from playing the game because you have to actually connect to a server, and it has an authentication process.
That's actually true, dude.
It went from us actually owning content and a physical copy that you could say, hey, it's mine, but now you're just paying for the rights. And
that's true.
It's kind of
you're right.
And at least on the Xbox, I know, and I've never actually run into this issue. And a lot of people are like, well, what if you don't have an internet connection or you're something like that. Usually, you don't have an internet connection because you don't have power, and then you're SOL pretty much anyway.
Yeah.
But I think you have to be online pretty much to play anything you own, at least digital, because there is an authentication process that it goes through.
Oh, you have to be signed in.
Yeah. Well, signing into your account's not really that. That's you don't have to do that online.
But also, like, at least, and I mean, I love every console. I'm not a Microsoft fan or a Sony fan. I think every system has its own
has something to offer.
Benefit. Yeah, exactly. And I'm a big PC gamer as well.
PC Master Race.
But the cool thing that the Xbox does with the digital media is give you access, or at least gives you the ability to share your games with somebody else. And Gatsuga over here can attest to that because. We swapped our accounts on our Xboxes, so whatever I own, he owns, and whatever I own,
that's fucking crazy.
I have. Yeah. And
does PlayStation do that?
You can, but it's a really hard process.
They're
not all about that life. Xbox,
but I think
it's easy to
do it once though.
You can do it 3 times a year, and after that, they lock you out of it. So it's basically a system of, and if anybody else wants to try this, is basically you go to your buddy's house and you make their Xbox your Xbox. So you go into settings, and then there's make this Xbox my home console, and vice versa at your house, and pretty much. All you need to do to play your games is sign in, and you always sign in when you're home.
Mm-hmm.
But when your friend signs in, it recognizes that his Xbox is your Xbox, and he owns all your content. So pretty much you share games, and we've been sharing games with Dan for a few months now, and it's convenient that you don't have to buy the game twice, and you could actually split the cost.
So I mean, but let's say you're at your house and Dan's at his house.
Both play.
Yeah, we could play together.
Really?
Yeah, because it's just
that's how we play Black Ops.
Yeah, and he has Need for Speed, and I have pretty much every game that has come out on the Xbox since it released.
What I was saying was you can only do it on like, let's say you buy a digital copy, right? You can only do it with one other person.
Yeah, it's only one person in.
So you wouldn't be like, let's say.
So you got to pick a buddy that has a lot of games.
Or someone who at least dish out half the cash.
Yeah. Or somebody you want to play with at least.
That's a big one.
You know what I'm saying? You're like, man, I shared about John. When you gonna play? Man, I'm sorry, I'm busy, dude. Like, man, fuck you, man. We just wasted that shit.
Banned.
It just sucks.
He just fucking sucks.
Experience boring.
It's like, dude, why you suck?
But also, your
KD is 0 and 76. How the fuck did that happen?
And we're talking about the pros and cons, obviously, of having a physical or digital copy, but I want to bring up another pro of having a digital copy, and that's backwards compatibility. I know PlayStation has the PS Now, and even though you have to pay for it,
by the way,
I'm sure they're going to be able to work out some kind of marketing scheme.
So
that
what do you mean
provides.
by backwards compatibility?
Well, let's see. Like Xbox just released their backwards compatibility with Xbox 360 games that you can actually play on the Xbox One. And the cool thing is that you don't have to actually, rebuy the game. You just insert your disc in that you have, the 360 game into your Xbox One, and it recognizes that you own the game, and you actually download it and you play the game on your Xbox One.
Oh, that's what PlayStation should have done.
And they're not doing that?
No, they're greedy fucks. They're doing this whole PlayStation Now thing where you can rent. It's that monthly subscription.
Yeah.
And I think Xbox or Microsoft definitely just like two up Sony on that shit.
Well, that's why I like also PC, because you don't have to deal with any of that. You have a game back from the day, you just insert it.
That's true.
You download it, and bam, you're done.
But at the same time, since I'm all about retro shit and I like playing games from the past, I buy a new console to play the new games. You know what I mean? I don't buy the new console to play my old games. Like, if you want to play 360, then fucking grab your 360 and put it in. Like, I don't see how that's like really that big of a thing. You know what I mean?
Not too many people have old consoles.
But that's the thing. Like,
true.
I'm not a big fan of the 360 because I went through like 14 of them because of the red. Realistically,
they had their problems. But the cool thing is that I was on my account the other day, and I owned Braid and a couple other games that I actually downloaded or played on the Xbox 360, and I was like, holy shit, I have Braid. And it was kind of a surprise that, it's a pretty cool game if you've never played it.
It's actually a really cool game, I think.
It's something that just popped up for free. I don't have to pay for it, and it's convenient. I just could download it, and bam, it's there. And that's a convenient factor, and it's something that I paid for back in the day, and I still have it. Amazingly, I
mean, it is pretty cool to like when you go back and you're like, oh man, I was playing this game, I don't even remember that. But at least for me, right, like I really don't see myself playing like games that I was playing 3 years ago, maybe even a year ago. Like I kind of just run through them once and then
you just move on to the next shit, right? You're not into like. You got an Xbox One, right?
Yeah.
And let's, like with the Xbox One, is backwards compatibility. Let's say I let you borrow like BioShock, the first one, because you've never played it. Would you play that?
I would play it because I've never played it. But like, say I had played it before, and then like I wouldn't want to play it no more. Okay. On my 360, I had a digital copy of Oblivion.
Okay.
Elder Scroll Oblivion, and then kind of like what he was just saying. I went back through my account and I noticed that it was still there, so I could download it to my Xbox One now because it's paid for through my account. But I mean, I don't see no purpose. I don't see no reason why I would do that.
You wouldn't go back and replay
it. I wouldn't play it.
That's kind of a bad example of a game to for a throwback like that. Because
that shit is a big game.
No, yeah, it's a big game. You're gonna have to put a lot of time into it. I'm talking about games like Braid is something that you could definitely run through again easy. And for me, when I logged into my Xbox One, I saw Geometry Wars, and I'm a motherfucker for Geometry Wars. I love that shit. It's not a game that's a story. It's just you go back and play it,
Mm-hmm. I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
like
so
Trials.
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 Was it Luminous or Lumines, however you want to say it?
Yeah.
So I see that shit. I'm like, oh man, what?
Yeah.
Fuck it, I'll do a couple rounds of that.
Okay.
It's just like Rocket League. When I'm bored and I don't know what I want to do, I'm like, man, Rocket League, whatever. Yeah. It's 5 minutes out. Well, not really nowadays. Everyone's fucking good as shit on that game.
It's like overtimes all the time.
I don't know if there's too many games like that though. I feel like most of the games that I'm buying are usually games that like even if I think about like The Witcher, Fallout, Call of Duty. These are probably those are the last 3 games I bought. Like all 3 of those games, 2 years from now, I'm probably not gonna want to play.
Well, Black Ops is gonna be completely.
But what if you wanted to? Let's say you don't have a 360, or you don't have a PS3 or PS2 or PS1, and you wanted to play that game that you missed, and they don't sell at the store anymore. We're talking about physical copies. But then you go online and hey, there's a digital copy of it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's also
physical copies. Also, when look.
I'm not saying that physical copies, bad or anything. No, I'm just saying,
but like when you get a physical copy, you rip the seal. Like you're so excited, it's in your fucking hand.
The smell of that.
You sniff the manual.
All of you have sniffed that game.
Yeah, sniff it, dude.
It smells like it smells like difficulty. You pop that thing in.
That's the nerd king coming out of you.
And before the booklets, you should actually have content.
Yeah, that's a really disappointing thing. When you buy a game and they give you the disc and you're like, this shit weighs nothing.
Yeah, the case is not.
Before the booklet was actually
and it was cool.
It would show the remotes. It showed now it's none of that.
Little notes panel on your back for all them.
It'd have the stories, the characters,
how to do moves. From the RPG game.
Maps and posters, stickers.
Yeah, what the fuck? I want some stickers.
No, dude.
It would be in color.
Yeah.
Once it started going black, it went from color, black and white to nothing.
No, you forgot. It went to like that shit ass book with all the legal shit and like and just the control scheme.
But and no, it's not one
sheet. Then it comes to the sheet that says you want to look at the manual, go to this website.
But go fuck yourself.
Now I feel like it's not fair for actually, you have to pay for that. I mean, you have to pay hundreds of dollars to get the limited edition to actually get the extra content in it. Back in the day, you open up a case and you're like, oh, there's a map, there's this, or there's a little poster or something.
That's true, yeah.
Now they're nickel and diming you on, the extra content. I mean, it makes sense because you do get sometimes like, a figure or you get something.
Not all people are like that. CD Projekt Red, for example, if you buy a day one, you got a map, stickers, You got the little keychain, but that's a pre-order bonus. But if you get the day one, you did get a map. You got stickers. You got a nice booklet. You got all this stuff, slipcover, and that made you feel like, if you bought the physical, it made you feel like, wow, this is actually really special.
Yeah,
like I have this here. And also Atlas. Atlas, whenever everyone who gets day one editions or buys the game day one, usually almost always gets a soundtrack or a little art book. And the books are nice and thick and big, and it's just, those are just those are the only two companies I can think of, off the top of my head that do that. And I get really excited when I hear an Atlas game coming out because I'm like, I know for a fact I'm going to get something cool with it. And, a soundtrack doesn't cost much to make, I'm sure.
Well, did you play, you guys ever play Bastion ever?
Soundtrack.
What? Bastion, nah.
I love Bastion.
Bastion. If you've never played Bastion, play Bastion, because I was, I'll admit, I downloaded, I pirated the game on PC because I wasn't sure. But once I started playing, I went out and I bought the game. And then when I finished the game, I actually went online. I was like, man, this soundtrack is just so dope. And I even have it on my playlist on my Spotify, one of the songs. And
it's the one where the girl sings, isn't it?
It's crazy that an indie developer come out and without a physical copy inspire you so much to actually pay for a game
go out and pay
support them, and then they put so much heart into it. And that's what I think, when the developer actually, like CD Projekt Red, puts so much heart into a game, and then they provide the extra content for free, like you said, that's awesome.
I respect that out of the developers.
Why not take it if you get it for free? It's something that's
it's a big thing when you pirate a game and you are so compelled to go out and buy the motherfucker. You're like,
you want to support them, right?
You're like, damn, I feel like a dick for stealing this. I'm gonna go buy a copy. I'm gonna buy a copy for my friend. I'm gonna buy a copy so my other friends can play that shit.
I've had a similar experience. When Napster first came out? Yeah. So when Napster came out, it was amazing, right? Like, I heard techno music I've never heard in my life because they don't play techno here, So I downloaded this one song by a guy named Paul Van Dyke or something, right? And it was called like Angel or something. And I listened, I was like, oh my gosh, this shit is so tight, dude. It actually compelled me to go and actually buy the album. And I was like, fuck it, dude, just so I could have the disc. Yeah, just so I could support the dude, because I was like...
And I love to support people like that, because, they make you feel good. You see the game, you're even listening to the music, you're just like, damn, this is so good. I need to support these guys. Like, you want... And you can't do that. Like, people don't, let's go into demo disc, for example.
That's what I was about
nobody
demo
does
disc,
demos
dude.
anymore.
Remember demo disc?
Demo disc?
We used to go to Safeway.
We used to get it from the magazine and play it. That, I ain't gonna lie, demo disc really put me onto a lot of games.
Yeah,
like Tony Hawk Pro Skater. Tony Hawk, all that
shit.
Dude,
I know people who just had the demo. They didn't even get the game. They're like so happy with it.
That stage, that one stage is
one stage.
Me too. Yeah.
But demo disc, that was like before DLC where you could just download the demo really quick.
Go on PlayStation right now and try to get like a AAA title or something like that and try to play a demo.
Yeah.
It's not there. Like, people are too scared that they're going to see that their game is some shit.
Well, they don't even make demos anymore?
They do. Okay. But there's not that many.
Look at on the Xbox, and this is another point I wanted to make, was EA Access. I mean, even though the PlayStation, you didn't want the service, I think personally it's a great service because you pay, I think, it's $30 a year. And you get a vault which has multiple games in there, and it gives you 10% off if you have the service on new copies.
Yeah,
and you get a trial version for I think 10 hours. So it's a full game, but you play it for 10 hours, and you actually say, well, I like it or I don't like it, and if you like it, you don't have to re-download it again. You just continue playing your game, So if you're like, hey, Dan, let's try this Need for Speed game out. We play 10 hours. You get addicted. Hell, if you like it so much, buy it,
Mm-hmm.
So that's actually a really smart idea on EA's. I don't give props to EA very often.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think all those companies are trying to fix their marketing scheme because they
are on damage
everybody
like
looks like they're evil,
They get like worst company in the world.
I think Ubisoft now is catching up, and I mean,
Ubisoft is kind of fucking up.
It's kind of it's like a race. Who's the
worst company, the worst distributor,
and now they're both trying to get out of it.
If the
put some demos out,
would be able to do that, like just like how EA Sports does it. That would be cool. You could just play a game for a couple hours and.
What about early access? You guys ever play anything that's early?
Where like betas and stuff?
I have early access on Steam.
Don't you have to be invited or something?
No, not at all. So like early access on Steam. I don't know if you're PC game or not.
No. All
right, so think about early access. You can actually buy the game for a cheaper price.
And it's all digital.
Yeah, this is all digital.
Yeah.
And this is where I think it's pretty cool actually.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of like Kickstarter, but they already got some money to make the game. You know, like you playing an alpha or pre-alpha of a game, and you watch it progress.
There you go.
Like I have like what 5 or 6 early access games.
Okay.
And then Microsoft on Xbox One started doing the preview program, which I think is a great idea.
Okay.
I bought Elite Dangerous for, what was it, like $30?
Yeah, I think something like that.
And full retail copies, what, $50, $60?
$50-$60, yeah.
I bought it for $30 because I really like space games. You know, just sitting there mining an asteroid is fun to me. I think it's cool. You know, you get to fight pirates and do all this cool shit. If anyone is into that, Elite Dangerous is tight. But so I got it for $30, and it's a preview. It's called the preview program. With the preview program, you get like an hour, right? You get an hour demo of the game, right, Slav?
Yeah, it's I believe it's an hour.
Yeah, it's like an hour, which is demo. And if it didn't have that demo, I would have never picked up Elite Dangerous.
Okay.
Because I'm scared that I'm gonna buy a game for that much money and it's gonna suck because it's happened so many times.
Yeah.
You know.
And a lot of companies I think are trying to iron that whole digital copies out. I mean, they're not sure which direction to head and how to proceed with this because they want to make the most money, but they also want to be careful with how they present the games.
Exactly.
And I think making these demos available for a short period of time, it doesn't have to be 10 hours like EX.
That is a lot. I ain't gonna lie.
But an hour is sometimes sufficient.
That's true.
Obviously, it depends on what kind of game it is and what the caliber and the scale of it, but.
Playing RPG, you need like 5 hours.
Yeah,
you spend the first 2 making your character.
And I think it was. Was it? I don't remember what game it was, but it was an hour, and it wasn't just enough. I think you have to actually be dynamic with it and actually kind of gear towards what kind of game. If it's an RPG, give them a little bit more so you can get
level up,
interested in
up
it.
to level 5 or something.
I mean, I honestly think even 10 hours. I mean, it does seem like. Look like
a lot,
but I mean, you're not gonna beat a game in 10 hours, especially a game that you just started playing.
Yeah.
Like, I actually think 10 hours is fine.
But that would work with games like Need for Speed or
yeah, I mean,
what was the other game I did that with?
EX has
Inquisition.
Dragon Age Inquisition. They have NHL. They have NFL, Madden.
Even if you go with Madden or like any, because like you think about these sports games, you usually want to have the sports game not so much to do the careers. You want to play with your friends.
Yeah.
So if somebody comes over and it's been after the 10 hours, you're gonna be still inclined to buy it.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's too much, but
I mean, some games you can beat in 10 hours, and that's just disappointing.
But also, I mean, with the digital, I also disagree that you can't actually play the game if you're offline. I mean, what kind of shit is that? I mean, you pay $60 for a game or more, or hundreds of dollars, and then between the download content and owning the limited edition, and then you get home and your internet's out, and you're like, what the fuck?
Is it really like that? So if I download a game that. And it's on my hard drive, and for whatever reason,
because you need to sign in. Signing in, I don't know how it is on the PlayStation because I've never.
Sign into servers.
Yeah, but to access my games, I have to sign into my account, and I don't know how it is. I've never experienced it.
Yeah.
So it's like it's kind of a thing that you maybe run into, but. I think you should be able to have the option of having a physical copy or digital copy and just putting that thing in there and playing it whenever you want.
What's funny is that there's games where you can get physical copies of, but you still need to be online to play them.
Yeah.
Like for instance, the one game for PS3 called like DC Universe Online.
Yeah.
If it's not online, that disc is useless.
Oh, yeah,
and I find that fucking stupid.
But I mean, like, okay, if it's online, it's okay. But if it's a single player, what kind of sense does it make that you have to be online? And I understand if it's a digital copy, yes. But if it's a physical copy, insert that thing, play, you know. And I think PlayStation does it where you just, you know, plop that thing in. But on the Xbox, I think you have to actually be connected to the internet to actually play the physical copy.
Let's talk about like Evolve for 1 second.
What's up with Evolve?
The game?
Yeah, you remember Evolve?
Yeah, I heard it.
Since we're talking about DLC and digital content, Evolve came out with a two season passes. 2.
Okay.
Which means that you paid for everything in that game. Each character, you paid for the colors, you paid for skins, you paid for the monsters. I mean, I get it. That's the whole point of the game. And that, in what you were just saying, if it's not online, you're not going to play.
Okay.
I think the only thing that you can play online is the freaking tutorial. So they came out with two DLC packs, right? That's just fucking absurd for one game.
Okay.
If you're gonna have your monsters or whatever, I think some guy like ran up the totals for getting everything on Evolve and ended up being like almost $150, $200.
Yeah. And the game was not really.
It's not
finished.
Horrible.
It wasn't horrible. It's fun. It stressed me out being a monster many times. I hate being freaking chased by 4 people, and you have to
4 real people.
And then you start off as a small little monster, and then you grow, and then you get confident. But that beginning process, man, is
but you know there's certain monsters in that game.
But the game wasn't finished when it was released. It was not finished. There were so many patches and fixes, and the download content you have to buy. Yeah, it
was ridiculous.
$60 should be a full game.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and I'm okay with paying for like DLC and stuff like that as long as it does not affect the storyline. Recent history. You just picked this game up, I think. Actually, Asura's Wrath.
Yeah.
Okay, Asura's Wrath. Capcom, you know, me and Psycho are big fans of Capcom.
Yeah.
I mean, despite the fucked up shit that they do to us,
they can do no wrong in my eyes.
Yeah, they're still the company that
I'm a fanboy. I don't care.
Yeah, they still made Mega Man. They still made Street Fighter. Which, by the way, Capcom, if you're listening, give us some fucking Mega Man love. Good lord.
Yeah.
Asura's Wrath. You play the game. Game was what? 7 hours?
Yeah, the game was mad short.
It was 7 hours, right? Didn't you feel it was a little incomplete?
Yeah.
And that's because it was. All right. If you want to complete the story of Asura's Wrath, you got to pay another $7 to finish the game that you paid $60 for.
Well, I think that game originally retailed at like 30 or 40.
Nah, I think was it? Are you sure? You sure about that?
I could be wrong.
I don't know. I remember playing it. I thought the game was tight. It had way too many QuickTime events.
Yeah, it was a really cinematic type of game.
And it was cool. It was a very cool game. But
just the fact that you have to pay to
when it ended,
officially end the game.
Yeah, when it ended, I was like, the fuck is this ending? And I was like, oh, okay, I guess...
There's a part 2?
Yeah, I was like, oh, maybe they're getting it geared up for part 2. And come to find out later, oh, yeah, you want to know the rest of the story? Fucking $7.
Yeah.
And I'm like, are you fucking serious? To hear the end of the game that I paid for?
Yeah.
You know, the game the story that I paid to listen to and play, I have to pay another $7 to hear the end of it. Can you imagine fucking watching Star Wars, you know, at the end where Luke finds out who his father is, you know, spoiler alert, it's fucking Vader. Can you imagine at the end of the movie they just cut that shit? They're like, all right, guys, $5, you want to see the end? You know?
Well, that's what they do now, man. It's just...
All right, guys, cut that. They're like, you got buckets in the theater. All right, guys, put the $5
and then we're going to release 2 more after that, and you have to wait.
All right, get the fuck out. You don't want to
hear it? Yeah, you got $5. Get the fuck out of my theater.
Well, by the way, the end of this movie is in 3D, and we're going to squirt water on you when he's flying through space. You know, like, you miss out on the whole experience of the fucking thing.
That also brings another, I think, a con to the digital copies is I think, and not a lot of people bring this up, but digital hoarding. And that's pretty much is you buy a game because it's convenient and you just
Steam.
Steam, and even on my Xbox, I've bought games that I have not even touched yet. And why the hell did I buy it? Because it was there and I was interested in it. And I was just click a button.
Yeah.
You don't even have to go through transaction. It does it for you. Bam, it's Dude, there.
I got 270 games on my Steam account. I played maybe 17 of them.
Wow.
And the thing is,
I can't beat them all now, and I'm kind of slowly catching up.
About getting XCOM.
That's just digital hoarding is
that's interesting. I never heard heard of that term, digital hoarding.
It's a pretty big problem, and I can admit to it that I'm a big culprit of it, and I bought games that I still have not beat. I think Daniel has beat my games even. I have on my account that I haven't even touched yet.
See, the cool thing about physicals is that you buy a game and you're like, you put it down in front of you, like, man, I ain't buying shit until I finish this game.
Yeah.
And then, well, that's
not the case with me. I buy 50 games a week, and I only play like 2 of them.
Well, you can also buy games for $5. It's not like spending $60.
Have you beat any of all these?
I beat a lot of them, but not really.
There's like
20 to 18%.
That's about 2,000 games right there.
Yeah, that's insane.
But but the thing is, Steam also has crazy big Steam sales where games that are usually $60 are like, $5.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my god, I might want to play it, so fuck it. I dropped an entire paycheck on a Steam sale once, and that's where I was like, you know what? I got a problem. I need to chill out.
Let me go back to masturbating.
Yeah. Porn is free.
Yeah, let's make sure that's my habit.
Digital is here to stay. No matter how how much you hate it or you like it, it's gonna stick around. And it's been around for a while. Actually, I want to touch on this point is Atari, I believe, Atari 2600. Back in the 1980s, and this was the first downloadable content that you actually could do. It was a specialized cartridge that you were able to connect through a phone line and to a central server and actually rent games for 5 to 10 days.
On Atari 2600, I knew the Sega Genesis had that. They had the Sega channel.
They were the first ones, and actually, it was
mind blown number one. Right?
It was actually a game crash that happened back in 1985, and in 1983 when they released it, the gaming revenues up in Japan exploded $3.2 billion.
Yeah.
And then 2 years later they had a gaming crash which they called, I believe, the Atari shock in Japan, and it went from 3.2 billion revenues per year or during that period to 100 million.
Okay.
And it wasn't ready back in the day. I think we're ready for it now.
Yeah. But what's funny? So I understand digital is here to stay, but it's funny that when Microsoft announced Xbox One, and people kind of felt like it was just going to be a downloadable only console. Didn't they kind of say it that way?
Freaked out.
People freaked out, dude.
Remember, there was that whole thing. Even Sony took a hit at them with their little ad, quick ad where it's like, how to share games with your friends on PlayStation.
You know what I mean?
But they. I think
that shows you how one person could really screw up. And
but I also think that
Don Matrick was just a horrible
Poor
he
guy.
should never be in PR. Marketing is just horrible. I looked at a
poll,
if you
don't
actually.
Want to play it, buy an Xbox 360.
Yeah, he's like, we have other consoles for that, which is true. Fuck
but
it.
That's just kind of like a very subtle middle finger. You don't want the best. You can get some old shit, dog. It's like, and when I heard that, I was like, I was just like, this is gonna be so bad.
But going back to the point is that people, I guess, really aren't ready for an only digital, console. They still want
And Psycho, I looked up a poll actually on GameSpot, and this is a year ago. I'm sure it's changed, but they did a poll of who wants digital, who wants physical, and I think it was like 63% that preferred physical versus 41% digital. It doesn't make 100%, but I think there was people probably in between that they kind of they didn't really care. And this was a year and a month ago or something like that they did a poll, and people aren't ready yet.
But the thing is,
I think that the whole physical copy, especially for limited editions, and it makes sense.
But also keeping storyline from people.
Yeah.
Destiny was one of the bigger things in our preview. Around this time. When Destiny came out, I was hyped. You already know that. I already said that. But the thing is, they kept the story from the player, which originally, don't quote me on it because I just did like some quick research, but they had a completely different story ready for the game before it was released. It was actually Activision that cut it into pieces instead of saying. That's why a lot of the Bungie team left. They left the Destiny project. It's just it's kind of fucked up. It's kind of fucked up that they have this. You have this game. You pay $60, whatever. I paid a lot more because I got the collectors. And it's like some CEO, some asshole motherfucker is like, he's like, you know what? People are going to buy it anyway, so let's just chop up the story and give it out as bits and pieces of DLC.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, and it's people, and it's something that was
people eat it up anyway.
Yeah, I know.
They do,
and they know it. That's why they do it. So
Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Call of Duty. Well, that's a whole nother monster, dude.
So I guess in the end, man, there's pros and cons for both.
Yeah.
I mean, like Slava said, digital's here to stay, which I agree.
Yeah.
And people are gonna prefer either way, or they're just gonna prefer both. They just don't care,
The only thing I hate about the whole digital thing is the downloads. They are so huge now that you need a really, really fast connection.
That's true.
To download. With the disc, you insert it. It downloads pretty quick. At least on the PlayStation, I know it's pretty quick. Xbox can take some time.
Yeah.
But not everybody has an internet connection as well. So
that's true. So I guess we'll just end it there, man. So once again, I guess we're signing off. The System Cycle, Gatsuga, Elvis, and Slava. If you guys have any comments, anything that we touched upon, or whether you guys like DLC or physical, or just anything in general, leave the comments down below. We'll continue to provide a podcast. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and once again, guys, we appreciate you watching.
Yeah.
Peace out.
Peace.
Peace out.
真空